Mutin, adjective. Used to describe an individual whose spirit is unyielding, unconstrained, one who navigates life on their own terms, effortlessly. They do not always show up on time, but when they arrive, you notice. An individual confident in their contradictions. They know the rules, but behave as if they do not exist. Mutin, the new fragrance by Miu Miu, defined by you.
Finally in your wellness era? Then you know gut health is gut wealth. And with 20 years of science behind it, Activia can help keep those good gut vibes going. Deliciously smooth and creamy, Activia probiotic yogurts and dailies have billions of live and active probiotics and help support gut health while you go about your day. Your gut is where it all begins, so start with Activia. Enjoying Activia twice a day for 2 weeks as part of a balanced diet and healthy lifestyle can help reduce the frequency of minor digestive discomfort.
Unfiltered discussions, unexpected guests. No topic is off limits, from sex and relationships to the human condition, personal anxieties, and so much more. The only talk show of its kind in the world. This is The Last Show with David Cooper.
Welcome in. You know, some shows you listen to them, and afterward you find yourself a little smarter, some a little dumber. But why settle for one? This show provides both. Here's what you're going to learn on tonight's program. We've all had conflict in our couple with our significant other, but there's a tool called the Enneagram, which you can use to understand your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your special someones. And through this tool, looking at your partner through this lens, you can perhaps decrease conflict. Again, it's called the Enneagram, and we'll teach you all about it halfway through the hour. After that, new research on the horrifying and deadly Black Widow. It turns out female spiders use the smell of stinky feet to attract males. We gotta have a scientist who worked on that on the show, and we will. That's some of what you'll learn on tonight's show. We better jump into it.
Want to be part of The Last Show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
And in news about the producer of this show, a lovely woman by the name of Danny being unable to do her job properly, she picked us a story to cover and didn't check the date. It's from September, end of the month, but 2 years ago. I am joined by Tony Five to discuss this story because it's just so good we couldn't not cover it. Tony Five is our foreign correspondent in London, England. He reports live from the scene of his flat in England for a story about Stephen King. Tony, welcome to the show.
David, cutting-edge news as always. We're really at the tip of the spear, I feel always. 2-year-old news is actually fairly recent for us, right?
It is. When Danny sent it and I'm like, hey, it's from 2023, she was like, oh, shoot, I'm so sorry. And then I'm like, you know what? It's such a great story. And for anyone who didn't hear this story 2 years ago, they need to hear about it now. And that's the kind of hard-hitting current events that we cover on this show.
So what we're going for is people that either don't know news or people that have got a very, very poor short-term memory.
Which to me is both. I am both, and our target audience is both. This one involves Stephen King, the famous horror author, and a fight that he got in with his wife that was so bad, it made national news. And the fight is just so funny. I'm actually picturing like me as Stephen King and my girlfriend Miranda as his wife, because this is the kind of annoying stuff that I would do. It's just too funny not to report on.
Okay, so reading the story, I could see you doing it to Miranda. I could see me doing it to you. I could see it all like a daisy chain effect going throughout the world. Stephen King, absolutely phenomenal author, probably one of his favorite. I've read his books, his films are brilliant. But how he terrorized his wife is a thing of beauty, David.
He is as brilliant a horror writer as he is someone who is an annoying troll. This is perhaps the best troll you could do of your wife. And he chose to play a certain song by Lou Bega over and over and over and over to annoy his wife. So much so that she threatened to divorce him if she heard it one more time. And Tony, I'm burying the lead because I want to give it to you. What is the track that he played over and over?
I mean, out of Lou Bega's constant discography, where, he had a massive... I don't know. David, it's very difficult to pick which Lou Bega song he... do you know any of Lou Bega's songs?
I'm looking it up. Okay, so the song that he trolled his wife with has almost 800 million listens on Spotify. His next most popular songs has just like 10, 20 million. So he really does just have the one song.
Yeah, it's like KSI, I guess. So it was Mambo number 5. A little bit of David on my cheese, a little bit of Amanda on my please. That one, 1999, that was, David, 26 years ago. Can you believe it?
I just can't believe that anyone ever thought that was a good song. It was annoying from the get-go. It wasn't like, remember that song by Gautier, Didn't Have to Turn You On?
Yeah.
What's that one? Somebody That I Used to Know? That song wasn't annoying for the first week. It was actually a really good song. Some songs, they sneak up on you. They're good at first, and then they become annoying. But Mambo number 5 was never not annoying.
I feel Mambo number 5 was a European song. I don't know where Lou Bega's from, and maybe we can get him on the show. I doubt he's very busy at the moment. I just think, because it was very Euro trash. They call him Euro trash.
I would have assumed he was American, but no, he's from like Munich. He's from Germany.
There you go. See, good guess from Tony, foreign correspondent, working well. So this plays in all the clubs and places in European, like in Ibiza, in like Tenerife, places like that, and they become super popular here in the UK, and then it gets translated across the oceans. But yeah, it was on everywhere. Everybody was playing it in their cars and so on. It drove me absolutely mental, absolutely mad. But yeah, he just continuously played it to his beautiful wife, Tabitha King. And they've been married, I think at the time they'd been married, from 1971 onwards, so that's a long time. And he was writing, of all things, 11/22/63. Do you know that book?
No, tell me about it.
So 11/22/63 is like a 2011 novel when a guy goes back in time and has the ability to stop JFK being shot. It's a great film. I think it's a series on Amazon Prime, and it's a great book. It's really clever. It's like a bit of time travel, but a guy goes back 2 years and he has to live his life. He befriends Lee Harvey Oswald and all that. And if you're into conspiracies and stuff, it's pretty good. It's a good book. But he was writing that, and he used to play Mambo number 5 constantly.
And he did it so much, his wife said, one more time, Stephen, and I'm going to effing leave you. Stephen King.
I mean, she's good with words as well. She should write.
Yeah, she should have been the author. Anyway, I just love that he did that, because that's so annoying. I wouldn't even think to do it. Now that I'm inspired, I mean, I have played the same song over and over. I'm not going to lie, to annoy people, but never one of such a good choice as Mambo number 5.
See, I feel you could do that with that song, Scatman, John. I think that would be your annoying song. Yeah. See, again, that's got a great hook. I like the song. I like the way it was. But can you imagine listening to it? It sounds like some sort of torture, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Mambo wife torture. Anyway, Stephen King recently revealed this in an interview. He revealed the fight with his wife and that he played it and that she threatened to divorce him recently, and he did that in 2023. We're reporting on current news. Tony, I want to go to this next story because it is actually current. We go to a video game tournament, for people who are really good at playing video games.
Yep.
This is a story that was published 2 days ago, so we're back in recent realms.
Wow, we are definitely cutting edge, David, from 2 years to 2 days. Carry on.
Anyway, this woman wins a Mortal Kombat video game tournament. She's a great gamer. She beat everyone else, and it was in Florida, your favorite place to do news stories. But what's amazing about her winning this tournament is she had just given birth, and she had a newborn in her arms while she was destroying everyone, brutally killing them, because it's a violent game in Mortal Kombat XL, and she's made headlines because of it. It's kind of an amazing, remarkable story of the triumph of one mother.
Well, I love her soundbite. I only won because somebody coached me mid-set. She said, I'm still recovering from a brutal C-section that almost resulted in a rupture.
Look, I think she's an inspiration to us all. For all those kids out there that are Mortal Kombat experts, you too could win a tournament. And even if you're pregnant, you could win a tournament.
That's amazing. So her daughter's called Cereza, And I was never a Mortal Kombat fan. I played Street Fighter, so I know there was two camps, right? Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
I was Mortal Kombat,
was the super violent one, wasn't it? You'd rip people's heads off and their spines out and all sorts of things.
It was on Sega, I think, because it was too violent for Nintendo. I don't know if you ever noticed, Nintendo games are typically not that violent.
I guess so. Yeah, you got Zelda, Mario. Yeah, actually, David, I never thought of that. You're right. Sega one's Golden Axe and people chopping each other's up and Tekken and things like that. You're right.
Round 1, fight! Yeah, no, I played that as a kid. I really liked it. I was the guy with the scorpion. You know, the guy who wore yellow and shot out a scorpion thing?
Get over here and pull people back. And
then finish him. Yeah.
Yeah, and good Lord. I mean, it's insane. And I mean, credit to the woman for able to beat everybody. Can you imagine her competitors? How will they go home at night? I mean, they're already quite nerdy anyway, but now they've gone home and beaten by a new mother.
Well, we are trying to get her on the show. She hasn't responded. I guess she has a newborn to take care of. But if she can win a Mortal Kombat tournament, she can come on this show. So we'll see. We'll see if we get her on later in the week or next week.
I hope so. I mean, if that's challenging, then this would probably be a bigger challenge for her.
Tony Five, our foreign correspondent in London, England. Tony, thank you.
Get over here, David.
Coming up after the break, Tony will be back to talk all about why his dog needs doggy Prozac and why your dog might too, under some very loud circumstances. Confusing, I know. Details in a minute.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
That's right. His name is Tony Five. He is our foreign correspondent in London, England. I am David Cooper. This is the last show. We are here to discuss doggy depressants. Isn't that an uplifting topic for some uplifting music?
David, the jingle that makes you tingle, my friend. Absolutely, Tony Five here, foreign correspondent, owner of said dog. David, it is coming up in the UK on 5th of November to Fireworks Night. I think it's akin to the 4th of July over there. Do you know the history of Bonfire Night?
I don't. Also, the jingle that makes you tingle, did you just make that up? That's
Thank
pretty
you very
good.
much. I know, right? David, on fire. Absolutely on fire. And speaking of fire, we're talking about fireworks, David, and why my dog is on antidepressants. But as foreign correspondent here from the UK, David, I thought I would educate you, my friend, on Fireworks Night.
I think that sounds lovely. Growing up in Canada, we had like Victoria Day or whatever.
Okay.
Here in the US, of course, there's July 4th.
Yep.
Where people just shoot fireworks at each other. Side note, I once celebrated a July 4th in Oakland, California. And I was driving through like a neighborhood that was a little bit not that fancy.
Sketchy?
And there was just kids shooting Roman candles at me.
No.
And there's just nothing you can do. So I was laughing and they didn't blow up my car and didn't leave any marks. So what are you going to do?
Wow, that's absolutely feral behavior. I love it.
Why do they call them Roman candles?
I believe it came from the Latin explodus horribilis.
Got it. Okay, so fireworks night in the UK. What is it? Is it you celebrating the king? What are you celebrating?
No, it's actually from Bonfire Night. And a gentleman called Guy Fawkes, who didn't like the government, and he had something called the gunpowder plot, where he was going to blow up the Houses of Parliament. He was caught... He was caught just before, and ever since then, it's burning the guy. So what will happen is there'll be effigies of a guy where they'll set on fire, and then they'll have fireworks. So traditional fireworks nights are, some sort of dummy or model or whatever, they build it on, and they set these things on fire, and then there are kids, obviously, with sparklers and people like roasting marshmallows and stuff like that, and then there are a fireworks display, and it's become a big thing. Most boroughs, most councils have got a huge fireworks display for people, and it's really big. The side effect of that is obviously dogs can get really spooked by those sort of things.
But wait, a man tries to take down your oppressive monarchy that's beating people with sticks and then tries to blow up the parliament propping up said monarchy instead of calling him a folk hero and celebrating the republic that wasn't.
Yes.
You just burn an effigy of him saying, don't touch our monarchy.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it.
Absolutely. I mean, we live in an amazing country. I love it here. So, yeah, basically that's what happens. And it's really, not a lot of people know that, which is quite strange. Even people that are in the UK don't know that. But it's actually Guy Fawkes night. And obviously just before that, we've got Halloween. We will talk about Halloween coming and my disdain of it completely. But that's for another day. And yeah, so there's fireworks. So I took my dog.
We're doing so good with reporting on things at the correct time. Like before the break, we covered a story from 2 years ago. Why not say breaking news? It's Halloween. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, breaking news. It's Halloween 2023. But yes, so what happened was I thought because I've got a foster dog, I don't really know him. He can be quite reactive. I'll take him to the vet and say, look, you know what? I don't know what my dog's going to be like. Do you know, in order to train your dog to be used to fireworks, whatever, you go on a YouTube channel and play firework videos to see if the dog goes mad?
And did the dog go mad?
No, he was watching YouTube.
So why medicate him at all if you don't think he's going to go crazy?
Because YouTube is not the same as... Because there's a couple of things to do with the fireworks. The loud bangs, you can't replicate through TV speakers. And also the pressure release. So when an explosion happens, obviously there's a pressure release in the air. And that could affect dogs' hearing because they can hear very well. So there's a number of things. And the smoke, obviously, which you can't replicate on a TV. So, she was really nice. She was where she goes, has your dog ever been on Prozac? Now, I thought it was the oddest question in the world. And I went, what? And she went, has your dog ever been on Prozac? I said, well, no, I've only had him for a few months. And I doubt he's gone to see a dog psychiatrist who's just prescribed.
No, it's actually common. Miranda's family dog, he's now passed. He was a good pup. He was on Prozac because he was a little wily and I think he bit someone once.
Yeah, and apparently it's human medication that they use for dogs. It's incredible.
My cat has trouble with his, how to say this and not lose my job, regularity.
Right.
And so we do this white, laxative powder, just give him a tiny dose with every meal so that he isn't, straining too much in his little kitty litter box. It's common to give pets human food and not human food, but human medication. It's not that unlikely.
Well, I never knew that. So I've given him some hay fever tablets. I've given him some vitamin E. He's got Wellman. He's got a bit of Prozac in him now. Basically, everything I take, the dog's getting as well.
Yeah, and the medication we give my cat to calm him down for the vet is the same medication I'm on, just in a fractional dose.
No way. So you and your cat share medication. But then that means me and my dog share medication. David, do you think there's a link between pet owners and their medical problems?
Well, I don't know, but the medication I take is very common. He just gets it before he goes to the vet. It's called gabapentin.
Gabapentin! That's the one. That's what she told me. It's a controlled drug. Wow.
Oh, here it's not. It's just over the counter. But I'm on it as a mood stabilizer, and I suppose my cat's also on it as a mood stabilizer because he loses his mind at the vet.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing. You know what? I didn't realise. And how long does it take to act on your cat? Does he just zonk out straight away?
He gets all wobbly. I actually don't like giving it to him because he's kind of out of it and he loses his balance and he's just it's kind of sad watching your pet heavily sedated but not quite 100% sedated because they're a little off and they don't know why they're off. And there's just something... The way that we've dealt with the vet issue is we take him to a nicer vet now, and my girlfriend Miranda goes with him because she has a much better calming effect on the pet. So I just don't take him to the vet, and now he doesn't need the meds.
This is all new to me because obviously I'm like a new dog owner where I can take them around. So obviously, and he had to get some work done on him. Is it work done? Do you have work done on a dog? I guess
don't know,
so.
Like surgery or whatever, like pull his teeth or something?
just some draining of certain glands and some clipping of stuff.
Expressing the gland du anus.
Exactly, the gland du anus, as they say in the Dordogne. And he loves it, to be fair. So he may be like me more than I know.
All right. Well, what else is going on? Tonight is a very important Jewish holiday. I'm going to a breaking of the fast after the show.
Okay.
At my friend's house. We're going to eat bagels. I don't know. It's called Yom Kippur. You were asking me about it at the break. I'm not the most observant Jew. I'm not religious at all, but it's just kind of nice and reminds me of my childhood and stuff.
Is it a religion? Did you fast today?
Did I fast today? Is my mother listening right now?
No.
Oh, then absolutely not. But if she is listening, of course I fasted. It's the holiest day of the year.
Oh, okay, so it's fasting, and then you break fast with like fellow sort of the congregation. Is it a celebration? Is it somber?
No, you break the fast typically with family or friends.
Okay, that's nice. And is there any like can you remember from childhood any like special traditions or anything that happens around that?
Yes, we would go to temple or synagogue in the morning, and then my brother would drive us to McDonald's promptly, and we definitely wouldn't all get Big Macs because that would be violating fasting. That was one of our traditions. No, it's just the dinner with the family and then the annoying going to synagogue. But I guess I would get the day off school as a kid, so that was kind of fun.
Oh, wow. So it's actually a public holiday. You can get the day off school.
No. I think it's like optional. You know, like Jewish families would have their kids not go and they wouldn't get in trouble. But I don't think it's like for most schools a public holiday.
Oh, wow. Okay. So is there a big thing in like New York for it? Will you see like various things around?
I don't live in that Jewish neighborhood, so I probably won't see anybody. But there are neighborhoods here where you'll see people like going to temple and stuff.
Yeah, I was coming back from my mum's, and obviously there are sort of predominantly Jewish areas, and there's lots of things like posters and stuff. I didn't really understand it because obviously it was in. Is it Yiddish? Is the language Yiddish?
Hebrew.
Hebrew. Okay, so sorry, it's not offensive. I just don't know. So yeah, in Hebrew, I did look at it. I thought my eyes were going funny because obviously seeing any language that isn't English, I thought my eyes were having a problem, but it was obviously in Hebrew, as you say. And then I asked somebody, and he said, "Oh, it's Yom Kippur today," and I was like, "Oh, well, yeah, okay. Is it like Christmas?" He went, "Kinda." So I wished him a happy Yom Kippur.
It's not supposed to be happy. It's supposed to be a solemn and serious holiday.
Which is why I said to you, is that a solemn thing? Because the next person I said, he just sort of went, well, it's not really like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't get, it's not like the biggest faux pas, but if you wish someone a happy Yom Kippur, you might get a strange look. Tony Five, our foreign correspondent in London, England. What a pleasure it was having you, my friend.
Foreign correspondent, David, and religion expert, I think.
Up next, details of an interesting way to categorize your personality, the Enneagram, and it might be used to categorize your partner too, your significant other, and through it, a way to resolve conflict.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
The human algorithm, where emotional inputs create unexpected outputs. The last show with David Cooper.
If you and your partner, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife are coming into conflict a lot, you might be interested in a tool called an Enneagram. And that's what we're going to learn about here with licensed therapist who runs Laurel Therapy Collective in Florida and California. Her name is Laurel Toorn. Laurel, welcome in. I'm excited to learn about this thing. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, it's a very helpful tool.
It's called the Enneagram of Personality, and it kind of looks like a pentagram, but with way more sides.
With 9. Yeah.
What is it exactly?
The Enneagram is a typology system. So some people are really partial to Myers-Briggs or, StrengthsFinder or astrology or whatever it is. Typology systems with varying levels of scientific research behind them. And humans have always been really interested in typology. Is like, how do we create a system to understand things? And the Enneagram, in my mind, is the most complete and the most trauma-informed system out there for understanding human motivation and depersonalizing conflict.
Wow, that was a strong endorsement. And so it tries to categorize people in terms of what? Like this characteristic role? Can you say more about it?
What's unique to the Enneagram, where other typologies measure behavior or the planet's alignment when you were born, the Enneagram is focused on what your core motivation in life is. And there are 9 of them. And so I like to say there can be 9 people sitting at a table and they all have a different reason for being there, even though the behavior is the same. They're sitting at the table. And understanding someone's motivation and behind that motivation, what the core fear is that they carry through their life can really help you understand someone on a much deeper level.
Okay, so how do I go about classifying myself? For example, if it was Myers-Briggs and then I was like FNBT or whatever. I'm not good at Myers-Briggs. My girlfriend loves it, but I can't get my head around it. I take a quiz. Yeah. It categorizes me. Is that how I can start participating in this?
I wouldn't recommend that because quizzes and tests, they tend to measure behavior rather than motivation, right? And if the Enneagram is all about motivation, it really is about you having insight into yourself and what motivates you. And so very quickly, I can probably rattle off the 9 motivations. Type 1 would be to be good. Type 2 would be to be loved. Type 3 would be to be liked and admired. Type 4 would be to be unique. Type 5 would be to have enough resources to kind of get through the day, to be an expert. And type 6 would be to have security. Type 7 would be to be content and have fun. And type 8 would be to have autonomy. And type 9 would be to be at peace.
Wow. I'm none of those things. Is there one nervous wreck? Because I'm probably that one.
That would be type 6.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, so, and do people self-align with these things? Okay, so you sort of you read through them, you sort of pick the one that works for you.
There are quizzes out there. I don't recommend them. They tend to tell a lot of men that they're a type 8 and a lot of women they're a type 2 because those are kind of gendered ideals that we're socialized towards. And I think that there's just our internal mechanisms are a lot more complex. So I would just read like a basic overview of the 9 types and then see which ones don't resonate at all. And then kind of like you don't have to go deeper with those. And the ones that like, yeah, maybe, then read more on those. And then the one that feels like you're being observed in a way that's a little uncomfortable, like, wow, how do they know me? That's probably your main type. We all have a little of each type, so it's fine if a few resonate with you.
Now, how might I use that to help with conflict? I'm assuming me and my girlfriend Miranda are in a big fight, but just prior to it, we read through these things and we decided what our type was. How would we use it to resolve it?
Well, when you understand someone's core fear in life and their core motivation, a lot of their behavior starts to make a lot more sense. So let's say my spouse is a type 5, and type 5s are the most introverted type that there can be. And they honestly, a great day for a type 5 is like just being alone with a book or the internet and like no demands on them. And that would be a horrible day to a type 7 who wants a lot of like stimulation and like social engagement. So understanding like, oh, the fact that my spouse just wants to stay home and read and like not talk to anyone, it's not about me at all. And I want to go do this fun social thing, that's fine. Our motivations are just very different. And so we tend to see conflict in couples when someone's core fear or their core motivation is at odds with their partners.
So what are some of these core fears and core motivations? Like I'm looking at this type 7, this enthusiast or whatever, and I'm seeing a virtue is sobriety. I am sober. I'm an alcoholic. I don't drink. But a vice would be gluttony. Like walk me through kind of these virtues versus vice or fears versus things they hold up to on a pedestal.
Yeah, that's kind of one take on the Enneagram. I feel like it's a little bit simplistic and a little bit pathologizing. I think one of the things I love so much about the Enneagram is that even you're going to be your type your whole life. It doesn't change. But your goal is to be the healthiest version of your type. So an unhealthy type 7 would be someone that their life is just absolute chaos. They don't ever want to commit to plans. They want to have option A, B, and C. They're unreliable, and everything is just, they're trying to essentially run away from any negative feeling or feeling trapped or uncomfortable. And then a healthy 7 is able to incorporate a good amount of like interesting mental and physical stimulation into their life and social stimulation into their life and be accountable, reliable, and tolerate discomfort when it comes up. So our goal is to be the best version of the type that we are.
All right. And so how can someone at home listening to this kind of apply it to their lives?
Well, I think that Enneagram.org is the kind of gold standard people go to get like really high quality overviews of each type. And in each type description, there is kind of a degrees of health description. And you can kind of see where some of the areas for growth might be for your type. I'm a type 3. I know that in order to be the healthiest 3 that I can be, I need to not only focus on my own gain and my own self-promotion, I need to focus on uplifting my community and being part of something bigger than my own personal goals in life. So I intentionally engage with nonprofit board service and do things that I align with my values that I don't necessarily personally benefit from. And that keeps me grounded and healthy as a 3.
Is there one type that has things a little worse than others and one
Nope.
type that has things a little better than others?
No, there's no bad types. There's only unhealthy expressions of each type.
Okay, so what would be an unhealthy expression of a different type?
So a type 8, their core motivation in life is autonomy. And an unhealthy 8 would just be like malicious power broker. That they are only out for power, only out for themselves, and really reckless with it. And then a really healthy type 8 would be someone who is protective of others and wields their power with grace and caution and is able to be a little bit vulnerable in the process.
This is such an interesting frame, no matter where you are on this type scale. Like there's kind of a positive expression and a negative expression. And it's like you have a choice with how much you engage with either.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, Enneagram, it's really interesting stuff. And I really appreciate you coming on the show to share it with us, Laurel. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Always happy to be here.
Laurel Vander Toorn is a licensed therapist. Check her out at Laurel Therapy Collective, and that serves California and Florida. After the break, spooky, scary, terrifying, dangerous, the Black Widow spider. Did you know 9 out of 10 people die every day from Black Widow attacks? A true fact I just made up. I don't like spiders. Anyway, the female Black Widow spider uses the smell of stinky, stanky feet to attract males. That's according to new research. Why we didn't study this before? Actually, I know why we didn't study this before. But the scientist behind this study is going to join me and answer my questions about this terrifying spider and tell us all about why it likes gym socks up next.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
Upgrade your laundry routine with a durable and reliable Maytag laundry pair at Lowe's. Like the new Maytag washer and dryer with performance-enhanced stain-fighting power. Designed to cut through serious dirt and grime. And what's great is this laundry pair is in stock and ready for delivery when you need it the most. Don't miss out. Shop Maytag in-store or online today at Lowe's.
Exploring both interstellar and interpersonal space-time continuums. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Spiders, Black Widows, just saying these words gives me chills. And against my better judgment, I read that new research shows that Black Widows lure lovers with the smell of, wait for it, cheesy feet. I am joined by a biology and chemistry professor who studies this 8-legged nightmare fuel. And he's here to explain why Black Widows, for them, stinky socks spells romance. His name is Dr. Andy Fischer, and he works at Greifswald University in Germany. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the obvious here, at least obvious for me. Why on earth would anyone want to study Black Widows instead of, I don't know, butterflies or puppies? Are you just fearless or are you a little bit crazy?
I think it's a little bit of both. What motivates me most is that we know very, very little about spiders, how they communicate, what they communicate with each other. And I'm aware a lot of people want to get rid of spiders. And so I was wondering, what if we could learn their language to tell them, hey, come here into this trap, or please stay away from this area. For that, we need to communicate with them. And that's why I'm studying spider communication.
Oh, interesting. So you could maybe design bug sprays or stuff in the future to make sure black widows don't bite me, because I have heard that 9 out of 10 people die every day from black widow bites, give or take. I kid, of course. All right. It's long known that female black widows eat sometimes their male mates, their male lovers. But I guess the question is, how do they lure them into the nest?
Yeah, so they use the sense of smell. So most spiders are basically blind. And when you're a male and you're blind, how do you find your mate in this 3D complex world full of predators and, well, other spiders that might want to eat you? So the spiders produce a scent that lures them in, which basically tells the female basically tells the male, "Hey, I'm ready to mate. Why won't you come over?" And then, well, the male is attracted to her and finds her with his sense of smell, basically.
And your study says that black widow females use cheesy feet, that smell, to lure males. Please tell me this doesn't mean my gym socks are going to attract black widows.
Luckily, they won't. It is only one specific chemical that for the spider we work with. So we work with the Western black widow spider, which you can find from California all the way up the western coast to Canada. And this spider deposits a chemical on its web, which very slowly over weeks degrades and at very, very small amounts at a given time. So we are never able to smell it. But at these very minute amounts, this one chemical that attracts the males. And it is a chemical that is complex mixed also in stinky gym socks. So we have a series of different chemicals that are produced by bacteria on our feet, basically, which are this typical cheesy smell. Also in cheese, it's produced by bacteria. And these short-chain carboxylic acids, so butyric acid, the acid of old butter, the smell. Well, spiders, or at least this spider, uses isobutyric acid. So a compound that reminds us of old butter, cheese, gym socks, you name it.
And how long does it last in the webs? Is this like a spider perfume that never fades? It sounds kind of efficient, actually.
Yeah, it's actually, for us, very puzzling at the beginning when we identified this chemical, because you put it on any filter paper and it will be gone after seconds. So it's very volatile. It goes into the air very quickly and then it's gone from the surface. But for this female spider, she sits on that webs for months. So for her, it would be pretty bad to basically let out a fart, which is gone after a few seconds. And then she's no longer attractive and the male cannot find her anymore. So she has this mechanism where she puts down a bigger chemical and then there is likely an enzyme on the web that slowly, very slowly eats on these chemicals and releases these short-chain carboxylic acid that attracts the males over the course of weeks. In this study, we also did a field study where we measured the pheromone amount on the webs over the different course of the month. And we basically found a web is able to that compound gets degraded over the course of a month, roughly. So basically they put it on and then a month later it's gone. Well, in a mating season, when most males around, the females keep producing this compound. So they keep producing their taste pheromone, which the males can taste. And it's actually quite an interesting thing. So this compound that breaks apart and attracts the males, when the males can taste it, so upon arrival in the female web, this compound also changes the male behavior. He does then something crazy where he cuts the silk strands of the female web and bundles it up with his old male silk, basically destroys her entire web. And for some reason, and we don't know why, she finds that sexy. And after he destroyed her house, she might show him that she's ready to mate.
Could you imagine a human mating worked like that? Like some woman had a smelly feet smell, the man comes to her house, trashes the place, and then she's like, wow, that is sexy. It's very alien to us, this animal behavior.
Yeah, most animal behaviors are quite alien. And in this species, males luckily survive this interaction. Only 10% of males get eaten. But there are other black widows where cannibalism rates are in the 50 or even 100%. And even crazier, there are other black widows where the male self-sacrifices himself during the mating process, where he only mates with her when she bites him and kills him, basically. And during that process, he actually somersaults on her fangs during the mating process.
highly erotic, perhaps. Why do the males find this cheesy feet chemical so attractive? What about the smell makes it basically irresistible to them?
Well, that answer we do not know why they find it attractive. The way pheromones usually get established in animal systems is that at one point there is a compound, a chemical that is unique to, let's say, females. And then males, well, if they can smell that chemical and are attracted to it, they have an advantage over other males that cannot find the female. So their offspring, those who can smell that chemical, are more likely to be reproduced, and then they themselves. And that's how pheromones usually get established across animals.
I quoted a definitely true statistic at the beginning of our interview. I said 9 out of 10 people die every day from spiders. Maybe I over-exaggerated a little bit. How dangerous are black widows really? We hear they're deadly, but I don't know that I've heard a single case of a person actually dying from a bite.
Yeah, so black widows are actually not that dangerous. There are hundreds of bites annually, for example, in Australia with the Australian redback. That's a spider that occurs in and around buildings, and so bite incidences are more frequent, but deaths are very, very rare. For the US and Canada, the spiders we have here, the statistics go something like this. 50% of the bites are dry, no venom applied, nothing happens. You just freak out and you lose it, and that is a big problem for your body. It's high stress, but nothing else happens. 47% of the remaining bites, well, it's local muscle cramps that can stay for days. So it's like you put your hand on a barbecue and leave it on. It's very painful. It is a cramp that doesn't let go until your muscle just cannot cramp anymore. It's very painful. And in very rare cases, less than 3%, when the venom does spread in your body, well, these muscle cramps can occur wherever the venom is. And if it attacks, in very, very rare cases, your breathing musculature, well, then one could suffocate. But that takes many hours. And well, our medical system is usually well designed to help you with these problems.
So I really shouldn't be worried. And they're not that aggressive, black widows. Like even if you had one nearby, you'd really have to provoke it to get bitten.
Actually, you have to do a little bit more. So the rule of thumb basically is you have to squeeze a black widow to make it bite you. So do not try that at home. Do not interact with a black widow if you see one. If you leave her alone, you're good. But she will definitely not jump on you and bite you. She's a very, very timid animal. And that's what I actually appreciate working with them. I've been working with them for 11 years. And neither I nor my students have ever had a bite incident.
Well, if you've got smelly feet, maybe watch out. Andy, thank you for sharing your research with me. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Andy Fischer is a biology and chemistry professor at Greifswald University in Germany. Coming up is using a generative AI tool like ChatGPT to plan your next travel itinerary a good idea? No, according to experts, it can hallucinate, make travel destinations up. That ain't good.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
The last show with David Cooper. Procrastinate your life away with us.
My girlfriend recently used AI to assist in planning our trip to Spain, and I am not alone in doing this. AI is changing how we plan our getaways. But I've learned doing this may have pitfalls and lead to some sketchy outcomes. For example, what happens when it sends you to a place that doesn't exist? Or what happens when it hallucinates on your dime? Should you use AI to plan your next vacation? That's what we're going to discuss here with machine learning professor at Carnegie Mellon, Rayid Ghani. Rayid, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to be here.
ChatGPT and tools like it sound so confident when they give us answers, especially when they're wrong. Walk me through like hallucination at a high level, and then we'll talk about how it applies to vacations.
A lot of these tools they're designed, they're not designed not to be accurate information but they're designed to be a chatbot. to be friendly, to be useful, to pretend to be useful, but they don't have internal knowledge about a lot of these things, right? So what they often do is the way internally they work is they take your questions and then they start predicting the next words that come after that based on what they have seen before. And so what comes out is typically realistic sounding, but not necessarily correct, because that they don't know what's correct or incorrect. So they're designed to sound confident, so that you use them, but they're not designed to be useful, and that's kind of what leads to all sorts of issues downstream.
And perhaps it was trained on text that talked about a place like it was real, like maybe fiction, although the place wasn't real to begin with.
Yeah. And it doesn't know that you don't want to go to a real place. It thinks you just want to talk about places.
I've had it hallucinate to me. I'm a former, I know it's a weird career transition, but I'm a former computer programmer, and I've asked it to help me, and it just references computer tools for programming. And I think, wow, how did I not know about this tool? And then when I look it up, it didn't exist at all.
Yeah. Maybe it's telling you about tools that should exist, but don't exist. And that's, I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is even those of us who build these tools don't know why they work, and almost more importantly, when they work and when they don't work. So the only way I'm going to know whether it's going to give me a right answer is when I ask it and I verify the answer. So if you're using these tools to ask for information that you don't know enough about, you have to double, triple check, which kind of defeats the purpose. So they're good at like copy editing, right? Because you kind of know when you see the answer, is it good or bad? But if you're asking it a factually correct answer, you have to look it up somewhere else to verify. And that defeats kind of the whole purpose of using these tools.
So asking it to give you an itinerary for your trip, you're liable to have places on there that maybe aren't that great or that maybe don't exist.
Right. And I think this is a short-term problem, because if you sort of realize like ChatGPT was a demo, it accidentally worked really well or worked well enough for people to use it, but it was never intended to be a general purpose tool for everything in the world. So what I'm sort of expecting, hoping over the next few years is you start building more specialized tools like travel advice tools. And what they do is they might still underneath use ChatGPT, but they have a bunch of other checks running automatically. When it suggests an itinerary, it goes and checks in the background if those places are real, if it suggests a hotel, if it suggests a location, if it suggests airports, flights. It's kind of sending off a bunch of things in the background that is checking and only showing you things. And I think those guardrails are kind of need to be customized for each use case, depending on how high risk it is. And it might just be it might tell you the wrong weather in a location versus it doesn't exist, or it exists but the nearest airport is a different one. So there are different levels of wrongness.
Sure.
But right now these tools don't know what's approximately right and what's sort of totally wrong.
I remember reading a story 3 or 4 years ago about some folks, I believe in India, who were following Google Maps. They went and drove, and I guess they were staring at their phones, and the bridge they went on was only half completed. They died. It's an extreme example. But with travel, things can be, high stakes. People can get stranded, put in danger. Would you recommend people generate an itinerary using AI, or would you say do it, but then double check under the hood that all these places are real?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say do it for any. I think use it as a helper. Don't use it as the planner. And I mean, if you're like me, I get information from a lot of places, and then I consolidate. I'm not going to go to one place and kind of say, tell me what I should do. So use it as an input. It's extra work. And it sort of depends on, if you want to be safe and you want to just do one place, then don't use it. If you want to do the extra work and because one of the nice things is it can tell you things that are more personalized to you based on your interests, based on your previous travel experience. So it has the potential to be more helpful than a generic website. But along with that potential comes kind of the extra work of verification. So I use it, but I don't trust it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a friend who, I sort of believe you, but I'm going to double check.
They don't have the same tastes as me. So I'll take their input, but I'm not going to blindly go and go to all the places that they recommend. I'm going to kind of see, does this place look interesting? It's a restaurant, and I'm going to look at the menu, look at other people's opinions, and then decide whether I'm going there.
All right, I want to put travel aside for a second because you said something to me that I've heard a lot in kind of learning about generative AI models and stuff. You said that the authors of these models themselves don't quite know how they work. When a layperson hears that claim, it's kind of scary, right? It's like, oh, they're playing with God. They don't know how it works. What does that actually mean? Does it just mean like we can't conceptualize the model in our head to know exactly what it's doing? Like, how would you explain that to a layperson?
Yeah, so let me kind of be, we know the math of how they work. What we don't know is why they give the answers that they give. We don't know, we can't predict their behavior. A lot of the machines, like one of the things about machines is that when we build a machine, we can predict its behavior. So when we build a car, we know when we press the brake, it's going to slow down. And if it doesn't, you should be very worried about using the car. With this, a lot of other sort of predictive tools that we use, for recommendations for weather, they're not 100% accurate, but we know that they're going to be about 80% accurate. We've tested them on different areas, so we can sort of predict when they're going to work and when they're not going to work. Generative AI tools are really new. It's a very immature technology. We don't have enough understanding of it to know why they work. As I was saying, it was put out as a demo. Nobody expected it, including OpenAI, to work as well as they're doing, which means we don't know. I think there's the why they're working. Why is it giving me this answer? And they can't tell us how they're working. So when you ask so one of the things people tend to do as guardrails is sort of say, well, ask them to show their work. Say, how did you get to this answer? Just because they show you their work doesn't mean it's the actual steps that they went through.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't trust anything about the mechanics of how they got to the answer based on what it's telling you. The only way to tell the mechanics is to go behind the scenes, under the hood, look at what it's doing, and that's something we can't do.
The math is just too hard to conceptualize.
Yeah, and we don't even know it, right? We're not OpenAI, despite the word open, doesn't tell us what's going on in the background. And so that makes it really hard to, figure out why they're working, but more importantly, we can't, they don't come in with an uncertainty of like, oh, I am not sure about this one. So be careful before you do something. This place may not exist because it's only in these books from the 1600s. And nobody recent has talked about it. And so you have to sort of keep digging in, asking for more facts. Tell me the lat long location. Tell me the country it's in. Tell me how many people go there. What is the Wikipedia page for? Like, you have to kind of get used to kind of asking these verification questions.
Interesting.
To figure out if the answer is correct or not.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate the nerdy aside, and I appreciate the chat about why we possibly shouldn't use ChatGPT to plan our next vacation. Rayid, thanks for joining me on the program.
Sure. Thank you.
Rayid Ghani is a machine learning professor at Carnegie Mellon. Calling all Star Wars and Lego fans who are adults. Well, Lego has recently announced its most expensive playset ever. It's $1,000 and it's of the Death Star. But fans and critics alike aren't loving everything about this, from the price to the fact that it doesn't really look like a complete Death Star. We'll talk about why fans are up in arms and what exactly is going on in the world when you can buy a $1,000 toy.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Broadcasting intimate details and useless information from an undisclosed location in New York City. The Last Show with David Cooper.
The toy company Lego has launched its first ever $1,000 playset. It is a massive Star Wars Death Star, and some fans are up in arms, from sticker shock to the design choices that Lego made when making the set. What is going on with this fandom? What is going on with Lego fans? And is there a business reason for creating this thing? That is what we'll discuss here with Matt Alston. Almost said Matthew, a freelance tech reporter. Matt, welcome to the show.
How you doing, David?
I am doing well. You didn't just review this thing so they would send you a free Lego set, right?
I think I got my request in too late. So by the time I had filed my piece, all the YouTube reviewers and influencers online had already built and probably disassembled their Death Stars, and I am still sitting here with my hand out to Lego. Please,
all right, that was my whole basis for the interview, to accuse you of only writing about it to get a free one. But jokes aside, for someone who hasn't followed this one, what exactly is this new Lego Death Star set, and why has it sparked discussion amongst fans?
Yeah, Lego is the most successful toy company in the world. They make the most money of any toy company, more than Mattel, more than Hasbro. And one of the reasons they do is because they have extremely loyal fans, and not just every grandparent wants to get their kid the new Lego set every Christmas. They have adult fans. They have millennials who have graduated into wealth. We're all 35, 40, 45 now, and we have money. And we also have an intense nostalgic connection to IP. So Lego, aside from making, Tupperwares full of bricks for your parents to step on, in the middle of the night, they make elaborate Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter sets that are like 10x expensive Funko Pops. It's a very expensive way to show your fandom of something. And the Star Wars sets specifically are large, expensive. They take days to assemble, and they finally crossed a sort of threshold of price that has made people say, wait a minute, is this worth it? I've just been buying these things and collecting these things, but $1,000 feels different.
It feels like it could be exploitative, maybe not. It feels just so over the top. But that's not even getting into these design choices. Like, it doesn't look like a Death Star. I saw a picture. It looks like a cross-section of a Death Star. If I'm spending $1,000 on a Death Star, I want it to look like a Death Star.
You accused me correctly of being a fan of Lego, and I probably have spent $200 on a set, some sort of fishing house, right? And you build it.
That still seems a little crazy to me, but go on.
It's too much. I am exposed. But when you build, a little house or a firehouse, Ghostbusters firehouse or something, and you build it, it appears before you. You have built the ship. You have built the Millennium Falcon, and now you have a Millennium Falcon that sits on whatever your largest surface is because you've spent a lot of money. And when you look at it, it looks like the thing. And I think you're right. Like, for $1,000, these obsessive, rabid Lego Star Wars fans, their most niche and most dedicated fandom, they want something in their house where they point at it, and a person who's at the unwashed masses say, wow, cool, huge Death Star. And this thing they've made is cool diorama dollhouse slice of a Death Star. And that's really where the conflict has emerged. And it's really the first time I've seen, as a longtime fan of the brand, the fans really sort of brush up against, oh dear, I buy credulously, I buy without really considering. I'm finally considering the value and price of what I've committed myself to loving.
So it's a real confluence of things. It's the fact that this set is so highly priced, coupled with the fact that it isn't exactly a Death Star, also coupled with the fact that these Lego fans are diehards. So I feel like you can't please everyone. No matter what they release, there's going to be somebody upset.
Yeah, and look at any product or service in an era of sort of inflation post-COVID. You go with your partner out to dinner, and if you aren't going a lot, that $60 tab that you're kind of used to might be like $140 now. Like we really are in a sort of shrinkflation era, and the Lego fans online who have been tracking this stuff, are like, the ships are smaller, the price is higher. We're concerned. But this is the first time that there's been a sort of literal large-scale demonstration of that that gap between value and price that's steadily been increasing. But now we have like a blatant example. $1,000. I want a Death Star that takes up my whole living room and that like embarrasses my wife 10 times more than this thing will, you know?
I was walking not far from where I live past this restaurant that my girlfriend wanted to go to. The chef has like a Michelin star. I don't think this restaurant has a Michelin star, but the chef's gotten one. And I looked at the menu on the wall before we went in and I saw $21 guacamole. And I said, it's not that I can't afford $21 guacamole. It's that I simply will not. Have the prices of Lego gotten too far? Like, is this stuff just too expensive? Or do you think people will be buying this set?
There is a frog in boiling water situation happening, not just with your guacamole. You know, the people who've been going to that restaurant for the last 2 years, maybe it was 18 last year, maybe it was 16 the year before, and they kind of don't know it. Like the price creep maybe didn't hit them. Lego's always been expensive.
True. I remember arguing with my mom, like, no, I need the train. And she's like, honey, we're not spending $200 on a Lego for you. Sorry, dude.
I mentioned in my piece, the one sort of editorializing bit I have in there is my realization as a child that like, I was asking for the most when I became aware of how expensive the things I was asking for were compared to other toys, I became embarrassed. Like I was begging my parents for a $200 train, and every other train in the toy store that wasn't made of tiny bricks was $40. And Lego is a premium product. The fact that there are enough people who will buy the most expensive sets is evident in their continued creation of them, right? Like they're not making these things if people aren't buying them. And if 2 years from now, they haven't made another $1,000 set, maybe we have our evidence that they're a private company. We don't have deep insight into those decisions, but it's expensive. Go to Target and you'll double take some of the size of the box versus what your brain thinks it should cost. And people love the product and it is premium and they do a good job. They make great toys. They have a very high standard. I think we're brushing up against is it worth it?
Well, that's what I want to drill into here. If Lego made a sort of non-IP, non-Star Wars licensed toy, what's the opposite of death? Life? What's the opposite of star? I don't know, black hole. If they made the Life black hole that had 9,000 pieces and was exactly like as complicated, would it be $1,000 or is there a Star Wars tax on top of the regular price of the toy?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've already answered your question. Go back to Target and find the fire truck. The fire truck is not as expensive for the size it is as the Millennium Falcon. It's expensive to license IP. It's valuable to the companies that license it, usually. And so fans have rightly sort of tracked, and you can find spreadsheets and charts. I won't send them to you, of fans
Please don't.
Of delineating and finding this delta between normal price Lego and Star Wars Lego. And there is a Marvel, a Harry Potter, and a Star Wars tax, and they pass that cost on to customers. The fans are locked in. You know, these fans build armies of stormtroopers, and they have all the ships. And if they release a new one, their set's not complete. It's also like a collector economy where there's a mindset of completion, and some would argue Lego takes advantage of that. Others would say they're just making toys, man.
Well, I got to stop you there, Matt. The piece is called Why Lego's New Death Star Has Caused a Great Disturbance in the Force. Matt wrote it in GQ. Check it out. Matthew Alston is a freelance tech reporter. And I feel like critical reviews, positive reviews, it doesn't matter. These rabid Lego fans, they're going to go and buy this thing anyway, aren't they?
And I think they'll probably have a very good time assembling it once they remove themselves from the murmur of the disgruntled online community. It's a toy. They're going to have a good time building it.
Matt, thank you. Up next, top travel destinations around the world, at least according to young kids. Some of the items on this list are not what you'd expect.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you.
Visit Blinds.com now for up to 50% off primetime deals and free professional installation. Rules and restrictions apply.
Smart, sharp, and slightly unhinged. Late Night's Fresh Perspective. The Last Show with David Cooper.
My upcoming guest says she loves traveling and she travels with her kids. When asking her children where their favorite places were, the answers kind of surprised her. So I want to find out where these places are and know if they're worth visiting. I am here with Jamie Davis Smith, a travel writer and contributor at Business Insider. Jamie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
When you think your kids and their favorite places to go, where did you expect they would say?
I thought they would say that they most enjoyed beach vacations. We've been to some great beaches, like in Turks and Caicos, does not get more beautiful than that. We've been to pretty typical tourist destinations like Rome and Venice and London, which they seem to enjoy. So I was expecting answers like that.
And your kids are what, 10 to 15 years old? So they're pretty young. They're not, they're not adults. So let's start with like the first kid. Where did they say they wanted to go or they liked traveling the most?
Well, my son and my daughter both really surprised me. They both said their favorite trip of all time was to Jordan, which really surprised me. I loved traveling to Jordan also, but I felt like I was dragging them there rather than taking them somewhere that I knew they would love. So I was very happy to hear that.
Are we talking about the bustling streets of Amman? Are we talking about like more desert trips on camels in the Dead Sea and things like that? Where exactly did they love going?
Yeah, all of it. My son fell in love with falafel in Amman. He's still talking about that. But their favorite parts were going to the desert. We stayed in a traditional Bedouin camp that did have some modern luxuries. So we did have a shower and bathrooms, which was good. But it was just magical staying there. We went on a sunset camel ride with tea, which was beautiful, stayed in the desert. And we do live in a city. We live in DC with lots of light pollution. So just being out there and seeing the stars was incredible. They also loved floating in the Dead Sea. Jordan just has a little bit of everything for everyone. And of course, Petra. I'd always read about Petra and wanted to go, but nothing prepared us for actually being there and hiking all over. And my kids just loved it.
One of my closest friends is from Jordan, and he goes like every 3 months to visit because he's got some business thing there. I'm going to ask to tag along now. Thank you for that.
You definitely should.
Let's talk about Poland. My ex's dad once went there, and he like loved it. He wouldn't shut up about Poland for like months afterward. Is it really that great a place?
Yeah, I think Poland surprises a lot of people. It's in Eastern Europe, was under communist rule, and so I think it really does have the reputation as being sterile and having food that's all beige and bland and not much to do, but it was really incredible. We actually wound up there to see Taylor Swift last summer.
Of course.
Like a lot of teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we were able to get tickets for my daughter, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but Poland really blew us away. We loved Krakow. It wasn't bombed during World War II, which a lot of old towns were in Europe, and so it really retains a lot of charm that's unusual and I think hard to capture, and just a lot to do. Warsaw has great museums. They have an old town that they rebuilt. We were shocked by how modern it was. Really good food. They have Michelin-starred restaurants, which were way more affordable than in the US. So we were able to treat ourselves a little bit, which was really nice. And then we headed to a mountain town, I might butcher the name a little bit, called Zapkon, which was just gorgeous. In the winter, it's a ski town, but we were there in the summer, and it was just very green, very lush, beautiful hiking.
I'm looking at pictures. It kind of looks like the Alps or something. It looks gorgeous.
It looks a lot like the Alps. We didn't get to go swimming in any of the lakes, but just
gorgeous colors of blue that I didn't know existed in real life. So seeing that was great. They also have naturally fed hot springs, so we spent a little bit of time in those, which was fun. And my son is also really interested in history, so Poland, it's not always a nice history to talk about, but Poland does have a lot of historical sites also, which were meaningful to see and pretty interesting.
I'm sure they were. Now, let's keep going down this list because I think it's interesting. A lot of people talk about visiting Japan right now. It seems to be like the hottest destination. But you had a stopover visit to South Korea on your Japan trip, and your kids like the stopover destination more than Japan.
Yeah, they did like Japan a lot too, but I was surprised when I asked them what they liked most that Seoul was one of the first places that they mentioned. My daughter, of course, again, being a teenage girl, she does like shopping. So there's a lot of shopping in Korea and K-beauty, things like that. But also just getting more immersed in K-pop culture was really fun, a lot more fun than I expected. We're not even huge K-pop fans, but it was really fun to just see that whole slice of life and become immersed in that culture. We really liked seeing the demilitarized zone and getting close to North Korea. That's something really unusual.
It certainly is.
Yeah, and even my daughter's not so interested in history and current events. She's other interests, but even for her, it was just really interesting to just see how this Cold War essentially is still playing out in real time and learning more about North Korea and then actually just getting to see it. We could go to an observatory and look over into North Korea and it just really, really fascinating. And getting out into the mountains around Seoul is really nice. They have a lot of suspension bridges in Korea, which are really beautiful and nice to walk over. So we got to see some of that nature too and walk through just a beautiful park in Seoul. So yeah, I thought it would just be a short layover and not much of anything. And it wound up being one of my kids' favorite places, which just shows you need to be open to new experiences and exploring and go into everything with an open mind.
The last one on the list here, I kind of am jealous about because this summer we ended up going to Spain. It was our first choice. Our second choice was Iceland. And when we went to Spain, our luggage got stolen. And we were thinking the whole time we should have gone to Iceland. So you took a cruise around there. Walk me through. Is Iceland a place to visit?
Oh, no. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your luggage. But yes, Iceland is nice. I've actually been there 3 times, only once with my kids because I love it so much. Iceland is great. I'm actually somebody who doesn't like the cold. So if you would have asked me a couple years ago, I also would have picked Spain over Iceland. But I got some good base layers for my kids and me, and the cold didn't bother us at all. The landscape in Iceland is stunning. You don't even feel like you're on Earth. Walking through lava fields, which my son was a little disappointed to learn it's not actual boiling lava, but cooled lava that forms these really unique black rocks. Some locations have been used for filming when people are supposed to be on the moon or on another planet because it really does look so different. Being able to walk behind waterfalls. Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland, is just a really cool, arty city. Everybody's really nice. I don't think your luggage would get stolen. So there's a lot of adventure that's appropriate really for all skill levels. I think my kids are probably in better shape than me at this point, but a lot of hiking that they were able to do, walking on glaciers.
Well, it sounds pretty cool. The piece is called My Family Has Traveled All Over the World. My Kids' Top 4 Trips Surprised Me. You can read that in Business Insider, where Jamie Davis-Smith is a contributor. She's also a travel writer. Jamie, thanks for talking to me on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Did you know the last show is available as a podcast for you to stream on the go wherever you'd like? Also, we've got some bonus podcast-only content, so you're going to want to subscribe. Here's how to do it. Just search David Cooper Last Show in your favorite podcast app, or go to www.lastshow.pizza in your web browser. That's lastshow.pizza, not .com. And at those places, all the details you need. After the break, I was surprised to find that you can be lonely in a group of people, your friends, people who support you. And there's certain traits that make you more likely to have this form of loneliness. That research coming up.
Want to be part of the last show with David Cooper? Call us and join the conversation. 1-888-505-6644.
In the 70s, 4 young women were found dead. For nearly 50 years, their cases went cold. I'm Nancy Hixt, a senior crime reporter for Global News. In the season finale of Crime Beat, I share how investigators uncovered shocking evidence of a serial killer and hear exclusive interviews with the killer's family. Listen to the full season of Crime Beat early and ad-free on Amazon Music by asking Alexa to play the podcast Crime Beat.
When the day is done, we're just getting started. The last show with David Cooper.
Have you ever felt lonely in a crowded room when you aren't actually alone? Have you noticed that feeling lonely when you're not alone can make you a little suspicious of others? Well, new research reveals that loneliness, not isolation, can be tied to paranoid thoughts when you're not even isolated. It's a curious finding. So how did researchers come to this conclusion? Well, I'm here with someone who's worked on that. His name is Dr. Błażej Misiak. He's a psychiatrist at Wrocław Medical University in Poland, a professor as well. Błażej, welcome to the program.
Hello, everybody.
Starting simple, what is the difference between loneliness and social isolation? I kind of thought those two were the same, but it might be important to separate them for this conversation.
Yeah, I think that this is a very important question to start our conversation, because loneliness is a subjective feeling that your social contacts are insufficient. So there is a discrepancy between desired and actual social bonds. So it's subjective, right? And social isolation is objective. It means that one's social bonds are below some average, let's say.
Interesting. And anecdotally, like I've been with friends invited out like at a party or at a concert or something, and I felt lonely and I thought it was just me. Like I thought I was just kind of crazy or something. But this is actually a common feeling, that you can feel lonely when you're in a social environment where you actually have support and ties.
Yeah, that's the main point, that you might have a lot of friends, connections, but you can still feel lonely among them.
I used to do stand-up comedy, and stand-up comedians, they have like typically a lot of friends, but they are some of the most lonely people that you've ever met. How do you study this? How do you actually look into people's feelings of loneliness versus how actually socially isolated they are?
Yeah, basically there are many questionnaires, validated questionnaires that capture the construct of loneliness. And we did a population-based study in Poland of over 5,000 adults. And we repeated the same survey over time. So we did it across 2 time points spanning 6 months, to cover loneliness, social isolation, paranoid thoughts, some other symptoms of depression, anxiety, of course, socio-demographic characteristics, but also the things known as cognitive biases, which are known as systemic errors in people's thinking.
Interesting. And so when you talk to people, did you find those who had strong social ties did feel lonely out with their friends?
Well, basically, our main aim was to better understand what is actually the connection between social isolation, loneliness, and paranoia. We hypothesized that the way people think about other people might be the connection. So some biases in their thinking might connect these constructs. So basically, we were not very interested in how often the people are isolated or lonely. We just wanted to better understand the critical mechanisms linking these phenomena.
So give me an example about how paranoid thoughts might creep into an everyday situation, maybe work, maybe in the classroom, maybe out with your friends. Like, how can someone feel paranoid in those moments?
Yeah, first we should know that paranoid thoughts are not always something that should be perceived as pathological.
Yeah.
They are quite common in the society. So basically, the term paranoia lies on the continuum from subclinical, very mild expressions to severe manifestation like delusions, right? So that's the first point. And you might have ideas of reference here, so that people are laughing, that people are talking about you, gossiping about you, or you might have ideas of persecution. So you might think about the people that they want to hurt you in some ways. So these are the two, I would say, subdomains of paranoia.
These are thoughts that I think occur for a lot of people. I think we typically label them as social anxiety. Like, I'm out with my friends, but I'm worried they don't like me or don't want me here.
Yeah, sure. The point is that, in people who feel lonely, what other researchers also found is that they are focused on some threats related to other people. So lonely people focus on other people, look at them through the possibility of rejection, through the possibility of evaluation, through the possibility of, mistrust. And that we hypothesize this is the link between loneliness and paranoia. And our study basically confirmed that observation, that hypothesis.
Practical implications from these findings, like when we talk about loneliness, the loneliness epidemic, we talk about a solution to it being community building, but I think there's this subset of people who feel lonely and might actually have community. What would you recommend as treatment for them, or what would you recommend they do if they're having these feelings, but in fact, they have a decent amount of community?
Yeah, what our study found is that cognitive biases are really important in that connection. Of course, this is not the only connection bridging loneliness and paranoia, but the thing that should be addressed by therapeutic interventions. So basically, changing the way of thinking about other people would be the key here to get rid of loneliness. This can be done, for instance, in some cases through cognitive behavioral therapy. So there are many interventions now available which can be helpful in this case.
So talking to a therapist. Now this...
for instance.
Yeah, as an example, this is a large population study based in Poland. I live in the US. The show also is broadcast in Canada. Do you think these findings would be similar in other countries and other cultures?
Yeah, I think these findings might be relevant for the whole society. Why? Because there were previous studies showing some similar cross-sectional associations in different cultures. Studies showing that generally biased cognition, biased way of thinking about the society is strongly linked to loneliness. So this is something that generally extends these findings.
And you were mentioning cognitive biases before. Are there any examples or particular ones people should watch out for so that they can identify they're feeling this way, and it may not have to be with the fact that they have not enough friends?
Yeah, for instance, something bad happens in your life and you attribute it to other people, not to yourself or just to accident.
Interesting. As my mother calls it, being a person blamer.
Yeah, that's an attributional bias, for instance. And also you might not engage in new relationships because you are afraid of being rejected, right? So This is also something that prevents you from engagement in social bonds.
Well, Błażej, I think it's really cool that you put to research what I've felt sometimes, with my friends. I thought I was alone in it. And I think a lot of people can identify with these feelings, despite having decent social circles. I appreciate you coming on the show and discussing your research with me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Dr. Błażej Misiak is a psychiatry professor at Wrocław Medical University in Poland. All right, that's a wrap on our Thursday night show. Thanks for tuning in. Did you know the last show has a call-in number? We'd like you to call in anytime you hear something and you've got an opinion on it. You can even give us a ring when the show's not airing, like right now. The number is 1-888-505-6644. If we don't pick up, leave a message. We might play it on the show. That number, 1-888-505-6644. 1-888-505-6644. I'm David Cooper. This was The Last Show. We'll catch you tomorrow night.
Doug. Limu and I always tell you to customize your car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. But now, we want you to feel it. Cue the emu music, Limu.
Save yourself money today. Increase your wealth. Customize and save, we say.
That may have been too much feeling.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.